So, in this chapter, we're kind of taking a look at some of the tools that you can use to navigate around inside your Autocad file. Now, these tools helped us to get to different views in our drawings or to make things look a specific way. Now, they're great for precision, but most of the time you just need to get from one place to another very quickly. And you don't really care if you have everything exactly the way you want it to be. So, you just need to get to a spot close enough or good enough to do your work. And you want to get there fast. So there are a lot of different navigation tools that you can use for this. Now, you already know zoom and pan. So if you use your mouse with the scroll wheel, you zoom in and out just by scrolling the wheel back and forth. You can just roll it and that zooms you in and out. And if you pan, to do that, you can just click and hold your mouse wheel. The little pan hand comes up and you can move around. That's going to get you everywhere you need to go, probably about 90% of the time. But you have a couple of other different things that you can use. One of them here is the nav bar. Now, if your nav bar isn't turned on, just type in nav bar on your command line, press enter, and pick the on option. Now, there are a couple of different tools in here that you can use, but it's going to be easier if we have a file open. So let's open up the model beam clamp drawing. Like I said before, you can pan around, you can zoom, and you'll do that about 90% of the time. But we have a couple of other tools. One of them is the navigation wheel. So you come to your nav bar and you can just click on the nav wheel and that will pop up. And it'll go where your mouse is so you can move it around on your screen wherever you need to. And you have different options right here. Now you can zoom. So you left click and hold it and you can do a real-time zoom. Zoom in and out just by moving your mouse. Release it and there you go. You can do a pan, similar. Just the same way, left click and hold and move your mouse around. You can orbit, left click, and then move your mouse around. Remember, it's left click and hold. You can rewind, left click and hold. This will take you back to some of your other views that you had before. These are 4 options that you have really quickly. Now you can use your center tool here, left click and hold, and it'll center that. You can use your walk. It's kind of like a real-time pan. Left click and hold, and then move your mouse in a specific direction. Up and down will take it up and down. And if you kind of go to left and right, it'll kind of rotate it around slowly. Now, to get out of here, just click on that plus sign that you saw there. Now, you see the little flyout arrow here. You have different options. You have your full navigation wheel, which is what we just saw, your mini full navigation wheel, which is the same thing, but it's a little bit smaller. And to get to the commands, you just rotate around to this different pie. And you just get to the piece you want and click on it. You have the mini view object wheel, that's in mini mode. We'll go back to full mode. See, that's your mini object. This is just your specific views. Your pan mode, rewind, zoom, and orbit. Your mini tour, that's the walk, look, and rewind, and so on and so forth. You can have your basic view or your basic tour building wheel or your 2D wheel. Your 2D wheel is just a zoom, pan, and rewind, and that works the same way. So you have a lot of different options here, and whichever one you pick last, that's the one that's going to default in the icon. Most of the time, the full one will get you access to everything you need. Now you see here I have this little flyout. If you click it, again, you can get to those different options. Same as the nav bar. Now, in your nav bar, reset this to our top view. You also have the pan and zoom options. You can click on the little hand here, and that's your pan command. Now, the zoom, if you click on the flyout, gives you access to all of your zoom controls. You have zoom extents, you have zoom window, you have zoom previous. That'll take you back to your last zoom. Zoom real time, you just left click and hold, move your mouse back and forth. Zoom all, and again the rest. The zoom dynamic, scale center, object, zoom in, and you have zoom out. It just zooms out just a little bit. I don't use these too often myself because I can do most of that just with my scroll wheel on my mouse. But they're there if you don't like using it, or if your mouse isn't working right, or you're just not comfortable using your scroll wheel. Now you have here also orbit commands. You have the flyout, you have orbit, free orbit, and continuous orbit. If I click on the orbit, it's just your regular 3D orbit. Left click and hold, and it zooms around the center of your screen. You can press enter or escape to get out of it. Now we have free orbit. This will allow you to orbit in a little bit more controlled pattern and around specific axes. So that one's really nice. I like doing that one. And continuous orbit. You just sort of left click, grab, and toss it to the side. You drag your mouse to the side and it puts up this 3D continuous orbiting object. So why would you use this? Well, you can set this up just as a display on your computer, or if you need to just keep looking at your object in some way, you can. So it might be good for modeling purposes. And you can make it orbit, of course, just about anywhere and at different speeds. You can press escape to get out of there. Now, if you have a 3D mouse from 3D Connections, this button here will help you get to that. You can get to your different controls you use with it, and it lets you control it a little bit easier. I don't have one set up right now, so I can't really demonstrate that to you. Now, here in this last one is your show motion. This provides access to different on-screen displays that you can use. If I left click on it, it'll take me to my nav motion commands, the show motion commands. And I'm not going to get into those in depth right now, but these nav bar controls are another way to help you manipulate the views of your drawing and get you where you need to be able to see your model, to see your line work, and to be able to work at it from a different angle.